I love these large trees as I find my way down the hill towards the river. There's a really large cedar and some of these trees. The bark is made up of ridges and plates and is peeling a little. This is what the leaves look like. This tree is a yellow birch. We talked about the difficult life of the yellow birch in my video at the Hardwood Lookout Trail, and near the end of this video, we'll see one way that the yellow birch gets around the difficulties. This is a short trail and a little different from the other Algonquin trails because it winds along beside a river. It is the Ox Tongue River. This is one of the 8 major rivers that originates in Algonquin Park. This one starts near Canoe Lake and empties into the Lake of Bays. This was a raging river back when the glaciers melted, but now it's a slow-moving, peaceful river. Fish live in this section of the Ox Tongue River. You know what else lives here briefly in the spring? Black flies. They live only by running water. The black fly larvae attach themselves to rocks or plants in the running water. They have fan-shaped contraptions on the edges of their mouth, and they use these to trap bacteria and plant matter as they go by. This is quite a good thing. They remove large amounts of bacteria and debris from the water. What's not such a good thing, for humans anyway, is when they spin a kind of cocoon and emerge as a flying insect. The females need a blood meal for their eggs to develop, and that is the source of much aggravation for hikers and campers in the spring. I'm really enjoying this narrow, winding trail between all of these little trees. They are gray alder trees. These small trees are a subspecies of gray alder called speckled alder, and they like to grow in moist soils like this beside the river. These speckled alders are quite important and remarkable plants, and it has to do with nitrogen. Nitrogen is one of the most important nutrients for all living things. Almost all of the air is nitrogen, 78%. But plants and animals cannot use this nitrogen. Plants have to get it from the soil, absorbing it through their roots. But how does nitrogen become usable? It is bacteria that live in the soil. They convert air nitrogen to soil nitrogen. And then plants have to hope that there's enough for their needs. And this is what is special about speckled alders. They don't have to hope. They have special nodules on their roots, and bacteria like to live in these nodules. They are like private factories, providing the alders with all the nitrogen they need. This is a symbiotic relationship. It benefits both the alder and the bacteria. We are now approaching the Whiskey Rapids, and I guess people canoe through here because there are signs asking people not to put rocks into the canoe channels. The churning of the water forces lots of oxygen into the water, so this is where most of the life is in the river. In the 1800s, there was a huge logging operation in this part of Ontario. They cut down large white pines and then floated them down the Algonquin rivers, including this one. It was quite hard work because they had to build wooden chutes in places to divert the water, They had to build dams to raise the water level for a while, and lots of times the logs were stuck and had to be manually wrestled apart. The legend of Whiskey Rapids is that around the year 1900, a couple of loggers paddled upstream to get a keg of whiskey from Canoe Lake. They started drinking it on the way back, and when they got to this spot, they flipped over in the rapids and lost the keg. The whole camp looked for the whiskey, but it was never found. And that is how this area got its name. And then it's an easy walk through the woods back to the car. The wide trail on the way back to the parking lot is actually the old tote road. Horse-drawn wagons and sleighs used to use this road. Here we have a yellow birch growing right out of this stump. This is a very common way for yellow birch to get a start in life. The tiny seeds cannot penetrate the leaf litter on the forest floor, but they can lodge in a stump and put down roots. This is known as a nursery stump, and it will eventually decompose, leaving the yellow birch with long root legs. There's just one big hill at the end. Here is the Highway 60 corridor in Algonquin Park, where most of the day hikes are, and the Whiskey Rapids Trail is the first one you come to if you enter at the West Gate. You will need a daily vehicle permit from the Ontario Parks website to park along this corridor. The Whiskey Rapids Trail is 2.1 kilometers and rated moderate. There is a hill down to the river and back up at the end, but the rest of the trail is quite flat.